Welcome, ETA students. In electronic devices, one of the important things that we're always doing is bringing in new technology, getting it set up, getting it ready for lessons with our clients. It's not just automatic that when you have your lesson planned out, you know what you want to teach, that you can walk in to an appointment with a client and do that. It's really often important that we do the prep work ahead of time to have our device ready to go for them. So here's my process for getting a bunch of new devices that I just got in ready for a group. To start with, I'm going to unbox the device. Comes with a bunch of paperwork. This particular handout does not include any Braille. I'll leave that in the box for low vision clients. It comes with a set of cords, some headphones, and then the device. In this case, I'm unboxing a Victor Reader Trek, which is the new Trek product. I see that it's got an SD card in the top. We'll be using that definitely because the SD cards are the faster way to load content on these devices. When they go over Wi-Fi, it can take hours off the SD card. It's under a minute to load the SD card, under a minute to unload the SD card. So that's going to be my fastest. Check out the device is laid out the way I'm expecting. Make sure it's not a different button arrangement or something than I had planned on for my lesson. It's got a power button on the side, and on the bottom here is where I will charge it, and that's always the first thing that I need to do. So I'm going to get out each one of my devices and connect them each to the charger. You feel the device vibrate when it's connected and receiving power, so then I know that it's good to go. And I'll leave that sit until it's fully charged, because this is a brand new device. It does need to charge fully before I do any of the SD card steps. I'll pause my recording and I will come back when it and all of its friends are charged. Then there's always a little bit of troubleshooting you might have to do with assistive technology. So I just ran into a problem where one of my devices seemed to not be charging. What I mean by that is when I plugged the power cord into one of them, it didn't vibrate twice. So I pulled up the user manual and checked how battery is supposed to charge, confirmed that it double vibrating is what it's supposed to do when it's charging. So I took the battery out of the device that wasn't charging and put that battery into one of the devices that had charged successfully, because I'm trying to figure out, is this the battery's problem or is my charging port having a connection issue? Plugged it in there, let it sit for a couple of minutes, checked the battery life.
Power cord operated. Recharging battery, 5%. Downloads info. Not connected to wireless.
And I checked the battery by pressing and holding the octothorpe or the pound key. I guess it's called a hashtag now sometimes. Press and hold that key to get the battery life. I can hear that now it's up to 5%. It was 2% the first time it talked to me. So this battery was not charging in the other device, but the battery is not bad. It can be charged. It was fully dead. So that tells me a little bit about the troubleshooting and what part might need repair. It also gives me a workaround for today. I'll be able to charge this battery in a different device than the one it belongs in and still have the right number of working devices for the lessons that I have planned this week. I'll pause the video here again and try and come back when all of my devices are charged so I can move forward with updating the operating system and installing the maps. Be right back. So I came back for one more phase of the troubleshooting just to show you how that process resolves. In the device that did not appear to be charging at the beginning, I still have the battery swapped with a device that charged well, so this battery is 100%, and I'm going to test the power cord and see if it vibrates, if it indicates that the power is charging. It did vibrate. It vibrated twice. It indicated charging. So what that tells me is that I don't have a bad charging port. I don't have a bad battery. I had a completely dead battery. And because the battery was so far dead, it was not recognizing that the cable was plugged in and initiating charging. Most devices that have a rechargeable battery also have a permanent battery in them. So maybe that one's dead too. but with a charged battery in it, it operates. I can check the battery life, turn it on first.
Welcome to Victor Reader.
Turns on.
Orientation. Searching for satellites.
Don't want satellites, I want battery.
Power cord operated. Battery charge completed. 100%.
So it's recognizing its battery percent correctly. This is really just a device that was in a cabinet waiting for the next consumer or client or lesson for far too long. It will take a little TLC today to get it all recharged on both fronts, and then it should operate normally again. It's convenient that I have multiple of these devices to be able to swap parts back and forth to sort of quickly resolve something like that without having to take it back to customer support or a service center. But that's also why we have devices that sit in a cabinet for a while, because we have multiple of them. So it may be a while before a client needs one. Of course, I work at a university, so my clients are graduate students learning how to teach these. And that means that we often wait for the next semester before they're used again. And sometimes that's just a little too long. So I'll spend a little more time shuffling pieces until everything is back where it belongs and everything is fully charged. Then we should be back to work on configuration today. Be back in a minute.
Dr. Bagon. Humanware Home Low Vision and Blindness Solutions document. Link Humanware.
All right. So now it's time to see about downloading an operating system update for my devices, because there may have been updates since the last time I used this one and because the other ones are brand new. So I'm on the Humanware website. I chose the particular device that I'm using today, the Victor Reader Trek, and I'm going to start by updating the software, and then I'll work on the maps packages. So I'm pulling up my links list.
Humanware 1 of update or install a new software version. Visit 2448 level 0.
Update or install new software version.
Humanware Home Low Vision and Blindness Solutions document. Link Humanware. Link visited. Humanware banner landmark language. Main landmark list with 18 items bullet link prodigy. Desktop,
tell me
Duo,
exactly
and
how
tablet.
to do it. If I've got my device online, I could do it over the web right from the device, but I find that to be pretty slow, and the number of steps it takes to put these devices on various networks is not worth it just in the environment that my office is in. So instead I will use the download.
List blank. Link Victor Reader Trek Unite. Link Victor Reader Trek blank. Logi capture row 1 column. Logi capture dialog. EDA class 5. Victor Reader Trek user guide Google Chrome row 1 column 3. Logi capture row. Victor Reader Trek user guide Google Chrome row 1 column 3. Victor Reader Trek user guide Google Chrome Dr. Bagon.
All right. So when looking
BLS
at
5915
the available downloads, tab through my windows in the correct direction.
And Blindness Solutions
it
document.
looks like 2.1
Main landmark.
is the most
Victor Reader Trek United Kingdom English V2.1 Rachel and Sophie. Female English female Flemish. Link Victor Reader Trek United.
One of my devices is running version 2.1.33, and the other two are running 2.1.31, which would be a slightly older version. To download a new version, you choose the voice package you want.
Reader Trek Danish V2.1 Met and Sharon. Female Danish, female English.
Language, and also whether you want male or female or which specific voicing you'd like.
Link Victor Reader Trek United Kingdom. Link Victor Reader Trek United Kingdom V2.1 Rachel and Madden. Link Victor Reader Trek heading level for English UK.
Download one of
While you are
these,
installing
I
it,
will
heading
find
level for
one of
English
the
Link Victor
ones.
Link Victor Reader Trek Canadian English V2.1. Link Victor Reader Trek Canadian English V2.1 Sharon and Louise. Female English female French.
I'm going to say that where I live in North America, English and English is going to be more useful. Maybe English and Spanish would actually be more useful in this area. But I want to find an English that I'm comfortable with, download that one, and then get it loaded onto the SD card, and then I'll be right back.
Logi capture row. Humanware Home Low Vision and Blindness Solutions Google Chrome.
All right, so I've got a file downloaded and saved to my local computer in my Trek folder appropriate for this device. And I'm just going to review that the steps right now to transfer that will be to save that UPG file to my computer. I've done that. Step 2 is to copy that downloaded file to the root of an SD card. So I will take out one of the SD cards on these. I'll actually take all of them out. And because I'm fussy like that,
to enter or exit the built-in user guide.
I'm going to keep all of them straight so I can get them back in the right ones at the end.
No media. Hold key 1 to enter or exit the built-in user guide.
And you'll see that I'm actually going to use one SD card for all of the tasks because it will save me time and steps. But I've gotten them all out. I will take one of those SD cards and load the file into the root folder. So it's important that I notice it has to go in the root. I will connect the Trek to a power source before I update it and then power it on. I actually already have them all on, but they do have to be plugged in to get software updates. And then when I put the SD card that has a software update on it, it tells me step 4, the software update will start automatically. Installation should take about 2 minutes, and it will tell me now and then as it's going. And at the end, it will announce the update is complete and power off. Then I can power it back on, and it will confirm the new version number if I go into 0 and use the back arrow to get to the version number. So I'm going to go ahead and get one of my SD cards loaded up.
SDHC.
So
Window.
I ended up picking the North American, the Canadian English, and also Spanish because, one, I think that's relevant to the area that I live and work in. So I noticed that it told me to put it in the root file of the SD card, and the SD card does not have any folder labeled root. So to be clear, the root folder is the highest level folder. So I'm not putting it into music or into notes or into books or into podcasts. I'm just putting it generically on the SD card. That way the devices will see them when I put it in. So I'm going to go ahead
6%
and
complete. Copying 188 class 5960 to SDHC. 6% complete.
it'll take a moment.
Pause the
This
operation
is a
checkbox
pretty
not
big
checked.
file.
Only
It's
pause
the
the
whole
operation.
operating system for the device. And I've gone ahead and powered off all of my devices because I noticed that in the details. I'll start with the one that's plugged in and move my way along, doing the SD card in each one.
Pause the operation checkbox not checked. Read only pause the operation. SDH. Logi capture. 99% complete. SDHC.
Excellent.
Window. Items
So
view
it's
list.
now copied
Victor Reader Trek B February 1st,
to my
33CA.
SD card. I want to remove the SD card safely from the computer, which means I want to not corrupt it. So I'm going to Alt F10 and pull up that little menu thing where I can eject it.
Turn on BitLock. Pinterest. Format. Eject J. SDHC. Window. Logi capture dialog.
All right, and
Hey.
it closed the folder because I went ahead and ejected it. I will pop that out of my computer and go ahead and change
Logi capture
the
document.
focus for
Button.
everyone.
Button.
There we go. Get rid of even the computer view. And we're going to go ahead and put the SD card in the device. So it's got that slot at the top that I'm going to line it up with. And the instructions do tell you where to put this cut corner so that you don't get disoriented. You don't want to put it in backwards. So there is a tactile reference for people. Put it in and get it all the way in. And if it doesn't go all the way in, it'll pop back out. When you get it to actually stay, then it's ready. So I'm going to turn it on, and it should automatically recognize that there's an operating system.
The player will now restart to install the update. Please wait.
It's going to restart and install the update. And if history is any indicator, it will start yelling at me, please wait, and giving me updates as it goes for the 2 minutes. I'll pause it and come back when it's closer to done.
33. Beginning the update process. Don't power off Victor Reader while updating. Validating update files. Please wait. Validating update files. Please wait. Version 2.1.33. Victor Reader powering off.
So there's the end cycle. It gets finished. It announces that it has updated, what the new version is, and it powers itself off, which is great because now it's powered off and I can take that SD card and the power cord and switch to another device. I'm going to try and see if this same SD card will load this one. But actually, I think I might have to put the operating system back on because
Welcome to Victor Reader. The player will now restart to install the update.
There we
Please
go.
wait.
It retained it. So I'm going to start a timer. Let's see how long this actually takes. And I'm going to
install the new your maps much faster with your computer and an SD card. Please refer to the user guide for a step-by-step installation and to the website for the URL links. While installing this free version and free maps, Humanware invites you to subscribe to the new Trek newsletter online at www.humanware.com/GPSNEWS.
Update to version 2.1.33. Beginning the update process. Don't power off Victor Reader while updating. Validating update files. Please wait.
I enjoy that ad for how to get them faster while I'm actually doing it the fast way on the SD card.
Validating update files.
But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back in its protective cases because everything about normal operation for the Victor Reader Trek can be done in its case. It's only because I was troubleshooting that battery problem that I had removed the protective cases. But the SD card and the charging can go in and out that way. I think the validation takes longer than the installation.
Validating update files. Please wait. Validating update files. Please wait. Validating update files. Please wait. Please wait. 12%.
So it just started installing 3 minutes in.
Files. Please wait. 85%. Installing update files. Please wait. 99%. Your Victor Reader has been updated to version 2.1.33. Victor Reader powering off.
So just over 4.5 minutes to update each one of them after I had it on the SD card, and by using the same SD card I didn't have to wait for multiple transfers. If I had a lot more outlets, I could certainly have plugged all of them in at the same time and done each of their SD cards at the same time. Now I'm going to do that same process for maps, that I'm going to take the SD card and download the local regional maps to the area of the country that I am in, so that my clients or grad students working with each other or with clients will be able to use them on our local streets. Without the maps, if you take your Trekker Breeze or your Victor Reader Trek outside and try and walk around, it will just say no maps found or no satellites found, and that's not very helpful. So you always have to have the maps installed, and installing maps is something we teach clients how to do, because if ever they're going to travel, go to another area, they'll need to put in the maps for that region of the country or that continent, or that country depending on where they're going, in order to travel there.
Logi Capture Row 1 Column 2. Humanware Home Low Vision and Blindness Solutions Google Chrome Dr.
I'm
Backup.
going to go back a web page.
Victor Reader Trek Canadian English V2.1 Share and Toolbar H. View side. Reload. Back button submenu. Press to go. Loading Humanware Home Low Vision and Blindness Solutions Alert.
And now I'm going to go to install new map packages and get the most updated here maps.
Browsing. Dialog. You can cancel button. Humanware Home Low Vision and Blind. Turn on carrot browsing. Tool. Address. Share this. Bookmark. Show. Doctor. Chrome. Back button submenu. Press to go back. Context menu to see history. Humanware home. Elements list dialog.
There we go.
Tree view. Install new map packages. Here maps. Visited 25 of
Maps.
Humanware home low vision and blindness solutions document. Banner landmark link Humanware. Link visited. Humanware home low vision and blindness solutions.
Follow the same principles. I'm going to download the map
Main
that
landmark.
I
Main landmark
want
list
for
with
my
18 items. Bullet
country,
link map connect.
my region, and then I'm going to follow those same processes for the SD card reader. I'm going to put the SD card in my computer, save a copy of the maps right to my computer, and then also save one to the SD card, and then go about putting them on each Victor Reader track. For this part, one of the things that's different is it will ask you, after it recognizes them, it will ask you if you want to keep the maps on the SD card reader. So I will keep the maps on the SD card for the first two and then delete it on the third one. And the reason I'll do that is if I leave it on there for later, it will ask me every time I turn on the Victor Reader if I need to update the maps. And I don't want that prompt all of the time. I find it interrupting. So yes, if you're going to switch back between North America and Europe for a trip, you might want to have them both on there, but I don't want to just have them in my devices all of the time. So when I'm done with the third device, I'll delete them at that point. So after a 5-minute or so download, it's available and ready to install. Looks like putting it on the SD card may take a moment or 3. So as this is taking forever, I'm reminded of times I've taught clients how to do this process so that they can update things on their device, and how useful it is to have lots of 2-minute alternate activities to do while you're waiting for one of the phases, because this does take a whole lot of babysitting the technology and pushing start on the next thing or moving something from here to there. But then there's another 5-minute wait, and that can eat up a 40-minute or 60-minute or 30-minute time slot with a client pretty quickly. Having activities that work toward other goals or that can provide the person other important information during that time so that they don't feel like they're just sitting twiddling their thumbs could be really important. All right, that confirmed that it added to my SD card, so I will Shift F10 and pull up my menu to eject it. It's still currently in use. Save any open files on the disk. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. There we go. My SD card is ejected. I can get it out of my computer. And then we're going to do a similar process to what we did the first time. Getting it in, being really gentle. You don't want to force it if it goes in a little crooked like I just did there. You saw I stopped right away and tried to realign it rather than just forcing it because I would not want to break my SD card. Curious how long this takes, so I'm going to start that.
Welcome to Victor Reader. 1.
Radio BBC World.
So in order to get the device to update, I need to go to the orientation mode.
Orientation.
Examining map on the SD card. Searching for satellites.
It told me that it was examining the map on the SD card and then that it was searching for satellites. And that's not the same as maps were found on the SD card. Press confirm to begin installation.
The maps are not an update and will not be installed. Searching for satellites.
There we go. And it's because the maps are not an update for this particular one. See what the next one
Welcome
thinks.
to Victor Reader.
Humanware Track Release Notes 2-1. HTML.
Online bookshelves. Airplane mode. On. Internet radio. 1. Playlist. 1. Humanware playlist. Menu. Wireless. Validate connection. Bluetooth. Airplane. General. Cancel all current downloads. Internet radio. Hip podcasts. NLS Bard. Bookshare. Add NFB Newsline. Daisy Online.
Map. Map selection.
Orientation.
Examining map on the SD card.
This one I expect it to say no update, but we'll just check and make sure.
The maps are not an update and will not be installed. Searching for satellites.
Excellent. And I'm getting searching for satellites because I'm sitting here indoors in an office. It cannot clearly see the sky because I'm in a building. So it's not going to find any satellites and start navigating me in here. I would have to go outside and walk a few feet. I will go ahead and update my last device and then reload the SD cards and be ready to go for our lesson this week.
Online bookshelves. HUD orientation. Examining map on the SD card. Searching for satellites. The maps are not an update and will not be installed. Searching for satellites.
Excellent. So I noticed that on the third one, it said it was searching for satellites while it was checking the maps and then said it again after, whereas the other one only said it at the very end. I think that's really fascinating since they're exactly the same device running exactly the same software update. And yet I got two different answers or two different orders that it said things in. Again, I think that's just a really important concept to have in assistive technology, that even though it's a computer and it just does what it's programmed to do, that doesn't actually guarantee that it will do exactly the same thing every single time. And so we have to be prepared for that, and our clients need to be comfortable and confident enough to cope with those sorts of variations. So with that said, I will pack all of these up. They will go back in their boxes and get ready to go back to the office to be ready to teach a lesson this week. I hope that, while I know it was kind of long and parts of it pretty repetitive, gives you a sense of what the planning is that goes into being ready to teach an assistive technology lesson in orientation and mobility. This is kind of a regular part of the preparation for teaching lessons. It's as important as route scouting and takes as much time outside of lessons as lots of the other things we do. So make sure that when you have an upcoming assistive technology lesson, you've planned some time in your week to spend making sure that your technology is up to date. To be clear, the next thing that I will do with these devices is take them outside into the neighborhood that I plan to do the lesson in and run them there. I want to make sure that points of interest that I plan to use are called the things I think they're called, and that the street names are working and that it's finding GPS and orientation correctly, because I don't want to find glitches for the first time with clients or with students. I feel like that wastes their time and can be disrespectful to them. So now that I've done the tabletop preparation, I will also go out and route scout and do that same process of preparation of actually testing the devices on the routes and on the landmarks and on the addresses that I want to teach first. Teaching troubleshooting and what to do when the device doesn't behave is a later part of assistive technology, and it's not usually where I want people's first lesson. That's absolutely true when I'm dealing with clients, and that's mostly true for graduate students at the university as well. Sometimes we have limited time and we throw the whole barrel at graduate students all at once because they are resilient and resourceful and can deal with all manner of things. Graduate students are amazing. If you have not ever been surrounded by them, they're the most fun you can have in a week. But I will be taking these out into the community to test them, to record some landmarks on them, and get them all loaded up and ready to go for the tabletop exercises and then the out in the neighborhood exercises that we'll do with them. Until I see you again, happy traveling!